Hey everybody. Okay, video 2. Let's see. From April. I heard you come to Florida sometimes. Would you be willing to let us know ahead of time? So I do. I come to Florida often. My parents live in Vero Beach and I visit them constantly, which is wonderful. So I usually am in obviously in Vero Beach at the Vero Beach Book Center, travel down. I've been in Tampa, I've been in Orlando, I've been down to Miami and everywhere in between. So yes, it will be on my website. My next book comes out June 10th, 2025. I don't know that I'll be in Florida at that time. It may be that they wait and send me to Florida that following fall. But it'll be on my website. I'll post it on social medias and I'll definitely let you all know. So thank you for asking. The second question is, I'm very literal and read the words on the pages. Do you use symbolism? I use a lot of symbolism. I use a lot of metaphor, and I use a lot of sort of themes, meta themes deep within the story. In terms of symbolism, there are books where I will hit a certain symbol repeatedly, say water or sunshine. But oftentimes how I use symbolism is simply to reveal character. Nothing in my books is by accident. If it is a cloudy day, that is indicative of, say, the character's emotional state. If she's wearing gray, that means something. There's a scene, I liken it to a scene in, or my best example of it, is a scene in the Bronte plot where the heroine, her name is Lucy Alling, she is standing on the shore watching a woman capsize in a dinghy, and she's struggling to right the dinghy and climb back inside. And that is exactly Lucy's story. Her life has tipped over and she is struggling to right it and get back inside and move ahead. So I use that kind of sort of device, those devices, often, all the time. Everything means something. So there you go. But I too am very literal, which is why I can't do crosswords, by the way. Terrible at them. Okay, from Debbie. Oh, April also read Awful Beautiful Life. I love that story. Becky Powell is an extraordinary woman. No, it is not my story. I am the writer and she is the author, even though I wrote every word of it because it is her story. And yeah, it was an amazing experience. So I'm so glad you read it. Okay, Debbie, the book enlightened me around the events surrounding the historical time, and I loved the cryptography references. Did you see any actual coded messages during your travels there or any personal experience with the study of codes? So I did see some coded messages at the Stasi Museum in Berlin. That said, I also studied lots of books on coding and developed my own codes for the Berlin letters. Soviet codes are based all on math, very sophisticated math. And I really didn't think that novel readers wanted to dig in a lot of math. So I taught myself acrostic ciphering and shift ciphering so that I could lay out all the codes within those letters and the reader could then find them themselves. And that said, I did not use any AI, because I don't, and AI certainly did not exist in 1989. So I developed all the codes myself, and I had so much fun doing it. So it's a little bit about the coding in the Berlin letters. Okay, so from Deb, how much research did you have to do to have all the factual information you had in the book, and was this personal? I had to do a ton of research. I loved every minute of it, though. Back to the symbolism. The Berlin Wall is a symbol, both a character and a symbol within the book. So the research. I did a lot of book research first. I read everything my library had on Berlin, even reading its history back 750 years. I did lots of research, even fiction, to see how Berlin was conveyed within fiction of the 1980s. I wanted that research to stop in 89 so that I was not presupposing, say, the reunification of Germany in 1991. So I wanted to keep everything prior to 1989, but I did a ton of research. Then I traveled to Berlin for 6 days, and I raced around that city, much the way Louisa does. And I also spent an afternoon with an East German historian, just the two of us, and I got to ask all the questions I wanted, and he showed me things within the city I never would have noticed on my own. For instance, which I loved, the doors to nowhere on the 5th and 6th floors of buildings because an area had been bombed out, and rather than restructure the wall of the building, they simply from the inside bricked up those doors, but on the outside, they look as if they're kind of, if you opened them, you'd fall off to nowhere. So I did a lot of research. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And there was so much more I could have put in the story, but really the story comes first. So I hope you found that all the research sort of fit within the narrative and didn't bog you down. But everything is pretty much true, which is amazing, amazing stuff. Okay, one more. Actually, we're at 6 minutes almost on this video, so I will stop it and try another. As I said, I just want to make sure these get to you. Okay, coming soon.